The movie begins with a young girl standing alone on a beach far away from a watchtower. When she sees a huge dog running towards her, she runs to the watchtower to hide in an attempt to save herself, but it is too late and the dog manages to kill her. Her burial ceremony was then held yet indeed by her grandson Jonas along with his father. 4 months later, the Jonas family was driving down the road when they saw a car driven by a woman speeding towards them. The Jonas family's car crashed into a tree. Jonas' parents were killed in the accident, and the closest person to Jonas was his girlfriend Nath. Nath knew that Jonas wanted to move outside of their town because he had no one else to live with and wanted to visit his aunt. His grandfather Frederick came to him and told him that he could stay home until he turned 18, after which he was free to make his own decisions. He was fine with that and decided to stay. A year later, Jonas went to school with his friends. His previous teacher had been in an accident, and a new teacher named Helena was going to teach him German. She gave her first lecture on the beach. After the lecture, she told the students that she was moving to town and needed help carrying her things. Jonas, Na, and Florian volunteered to help her and went to Helena's house. They set up the closets and put a rug on the floor. Na happened to walk into the storage room. She discovered that the teacher was in the same country as her German teacher, but she didn't care. By mistake, she hurt her leg and was taken to the hospital. Helena stayed at her house. Helena went to the storage room and took out a box that she hid so no one would see. She took out the contents. The box contained many pictures of Jonas. She looked at the pictures and then burned them. The next day, she asked him to write a poem and turn it into school. Naha could not write a poem, so she asked for help from Jonas, who loved poetry and writing. The next day, she read the poem. After class, Helena asked Jonas to talk to her alone. She told him that his writing style was so special that she knew that the poems Na read were written by him. She recognized that the poems Na read were written by him. He went home and brought her a book of poems. She changed her clothes in front of him to seduce him. Then she read his poem and pretended to be moved to tears. They drew close to each other and kissed. The next day, they walked to school. He was afraid of what he had done, but she told him that he was an adult and what had happened between them was fine. At school, Not realized from Helena's behavior that there was a suspicious relationship between Jonas and the teacher. A few days later, a seminar was held at the school. Friedrich led the symposium and began to talk about his struggle with the government over the issue of school closures. He saw Helena and felt that he recognized her. He feels dizzy and falls to the ground. Jonas rushes to his aid. Friedrich looks around again, but does not see Helena. Na realizes what has happened between Friedrich and Helena. That made Na angry, and she left. As she walked out of the house, she felt like someone was watching her. She was scared as she walked away. Helena waited for Nana to leave. She went to the house and slept with Jonas. In the morning, she got up to leave the house before anyone saw her, but Naya was hiding behind a car and saw her. When she got home, she found the door open and the teacher was with Jonas. Jonas wakes up and goes to check on his grandfather. He asks his grandfather if he knows Helena, but his grandfather replies that he doesn't know her. In the school library, Na searches for books about teachers of the past to find out the relationship between Jonas's grandfather and his teachers. She finds a girl who looks like Helena, with the same hairstyle as she had at the symposium and whose name is Maria. Suddenly, Helena appears. Na tells her that she knows that the German teacher traveled to the same country as she did because she saw a suitcase with the name of the country she came from. She tells her that she definitely did something to the German teacher to end up next to Jonas. Instead, Helena couldn't contain her anger and pounced on Now, strangling him to death. Suddenly, she heard Jonas's voice looking for Now. She approached him and asked him why he was late for school. He told her that he had stayed at his grandfather's house to check on him. He asked about Nu. She replied that she went back to the library and started crying because of what she had done. She covered the body with curtains. After finishing her work, she left the library. She carried the body out the back door of the school and put it in her car. She also took Nina's bicycle. She then dumped the body in somewhere far away and returned home. Friedrich came to the house, but she did not open the door, even though she knew he was watching her through the window. She deliberately did not open the door. During the night, she prepared and crushed the drug pills. Later, she received a message from Jonas inviting her to come to his parents' house. He sent her the address of his house. She went to his house, and he told her that Na was missing and worried. She tried to assure him that she loved him and was jealous, which is why she was missing. He told her that what happened between them was wrong and shouldn't have happened. She pretended to be upset. He tried to apologize to her. They actually spent the night together. The next day, his grandfather woke him up and told him the terrible news. He had found Nina's body dumped on the beach. He and his grandfather ran to confirm what they had heard. They discovered that Nina was indeed dead. Frederick couldn't take the shock and lost consciousness. He had a heart attack and had to be hospitalized. The doctor told Jonas to rest in the hospital too, but Jonas continued to cry with grief over en av to loss of friend. He began to look for where Nina had last been. He searched the library and gathered all the information about the previous teacher of the school, found a piece of paper cut out of a book, went to the school computer and identified all the staff members of the school. At the same time, Helena visited Friedrich's hospital. Helena told the administrator that she was Friedrich's daughter and that she had come to check on him. She entered his room. He recognized her. Helena told him that Maria was his mother and that he would always remember her when he saw her. She told him that she had been with her mother when she came to see him and that she had been waiting for her mother to return, but she never did. She was only 4 years old, but she remembered that day well. She was waiting for her mother to return when a police car arrived at the scene and found her mother's body in the water. From that moment on, she decided to take revenge by killing his entire family. It turned out that she was the one who made the dogs kill his wife, and she was the one who caused his son and wife to die. That leaves Jonas as the only target. Jonas looks for Helena, but she is not home. He returns to his grandfather's house and goes to bed. The next morning, he is awakened by Helena's voice asking him to open the door. She tells him that she has talked to the hospital administrator so that his grandfather can be treated at home instead of in the hospital. He said he wanted to talk to her alone. He told her that her mother Maria works at the school and wants to know how her grandfather is connected to the school. He gets a call from his friend Flo. She asked him to pick up the phone and said she would tell him everything after she made coffee. She brewed the coffee, put some drug powder in it, and put Fred's bed in front of the window to show him what will happen to his grandson. She makes him drink the coffee. As he drank the coffee, she started talking about how her mother loved the town and how she loved Frederick, and they had a relationship. In other words, she was Friedrich's aunt, but not his mother. She then told him that his grandfather killed her mother because she asked him to recognize her daughter Helena, but he decided to kill her. Jonas becomes dizzy and falls to the ground. The grandfather who was watching him had a seizure and fell to the ground. She then takes Jonas to the pool. She tells Jonas that she just drugged him and tries to drown him, but he resists and gets out of the pool. Jonas beats her up and quickly runs to the house. He finds his grandfather lying on the ground, but before he can get near him, Helena attacks him and nearly strangles him. In Frederick's hands was a letter from Maria. In the letter, Maria said that she had tried every means to get him to agree to recognize her daughter, but had been refused and intended to kill herself. This is what Frederick wanted to tell Helena, but although he did not kill her mother, he could not tell her because it was too late. Jonas then decided to leave town for good.